Okay, so you're here today because I'm going to go through the anesthesia machine ventilator with you guys in the event that we reach a scenario in which we need to be taking care of patients in operating rooms because they require a ventilator and the ICUs and the PACU have been saturated. Now, whether or not those patients will be COVID patients or they will be regular ICU patients, I have no idea. But either way, I'm showing you the ventilator today so that if that scenario presents itself, the first time you see the machine won't be when the patient is connected to it, okay? So I'm gonna present a scenario that is the least likely scenario to possibly happen, and that would be basically you're the last man standing, you're all we got, and you need to go set up the room and get it ready and then take care of a patient all by yourself. And like I said before, that's not going to happen. You're going to have respiratory therapists, you're going to have anesthesia providers, you're going to have a support system to help you manage these patients. But by running through it this way, anything less than that will feel less overwhelming than this scenario. So hopefully you'll feel a little bit better about that. So the scenario is that I'm going to be like, hey, there's a patient that is in the emergency room and they are COVID positive and we need to intubate them and have you take care of them in OR 7. Please go get it ready. And you're like, okay, great. The first thing that I want you to do is to start thinking about yourself. So first, you're going to focus on making sure that you have all of the PPE that you need to be safe. And then once you go into the operating room, the very first thing that I want you to do is locate the oxygen tank and make sure that it has oxygen in it. There are usually 1 to 2 oxygen tanks hanging out somewhere near, around, adjacent to the anesthesia machine because we always have a backup. But find it and pull it out, and then the next thing that I want you to do is to attach whatever bag system you are most comfortable with, either the Ambu bag or the Jackson Reese, whatever you're used to. So having this out and ready is kind of like your security blanket. If everything over here breaks or doesn't want to work for whatever reason, you know how to bag a patient. You can do this with your eyes closed and your hand behind your back. So have it out and ready so you can use it if you need to, okay? The next thing that I want you to do when you're thinking about yourself is to make sure that you have this inline suction. Now, we don't usually routinely stock these inside the operating room, so you might have to call your anesthesia tech or somebody else to get you one of these. But every single ICU has these. So just pick up the phone and call the anesthesia tech and ask them for an inline suction system. The thing that's really important about this is that once the patient's intubated, if you have this inline suction system, then you can really minimize, if not eliminate, all needs to possibly break the circuit, therefore really decreasing your risk of exposure, okay? Almost every single operating room has a telephone that sits right here. And either on a marker board up behind the telephone, or like in this room, the telephone's over there and the marker board is over there. There's a phone number on there and it says anesthesia tech. So you can just pick it up and call them and say, can you please get me the inline suction system for OR 7? They don't know what you're talking about, you can ask them to go to the ICU. Anybody in the ICU will be able to point them to the right direction. Okay, so after you've gotten these things, then we're gonna get the system up and running. So we're pretending you had to like turn the lights on. You know, the room was just dark. To get everything going, there's 4 power buttons that you're gonna need to turn on. This one is the first one right here. This turns on the entire anesthesia machine. The next one is this one. Here it turns on the Massimo, which is your oxygen saturation monitor. Then this one for your vital sign monitor, and then down here is the computer. Sometimes that tower is located on the top up here. Basically, you just want to turn all of the power buttons on until all of your screens light up, and if one doesn't, find an adjacent power button and push it. You can't ruin or break this machine by hitting a power button. It'll take a few minutes, everything will start beeping and buzzing and humming. While that's happening, what I want you to do is to check your suction. The nice thing about anesthesia machines is every single anesthesia machine has a suction system built into it and connected to it, so you don't have to look around the room for it. And they're all located in the same spot. They're all on the right-hand side of the machine, or I guess if you're looking the left-hand side. And the control panel for the suction is right here in the on this face of the anesthesia machine. It says vacuum. To see if it's working, you can just unkink it. Usually this end of the suction tubing is located in this holder, but sometimes these are broken off. So it's stuffed here or back there, and occasionally this isn't on there, in which case we always have extra tubing somewhere on the anesthesia carts. But you just want to make sure it's working, and if it's not working, look here first just to make sure it's actually turned on. Sometimes it's just on the off position. And then if you turn it on and it still doesn't make that noise, sometimes you just need to turn it up. If you do those things and you still don't hear anything, of course you want to look over here. There's a lot of different spots where there's connections, and one of them could have come apart, or one of the little caps popped off, etc. If you connect everything and make sure that all of the access points are covered and it's still not working, then go ahead and call your anesthesia tech and let them know that in OR7 you don't have any suction, and they can come and help you troubleshoot. So after you check your suction, by that time usually the anesthesia machine is on and is ready for a checkout. This is something that only has to be done, once when you turn the anesthesia machine on. In real life, the chances are that the anesthesia tech is going to come in and help you through this process, but we're going to pretend like they're consumed doing something else somewhere else, okay? And so you can do this. I know you've never done an anesthesia machine checkout before. Don't worry, I'm going to walk you through it right now. But if you forget everything that I tell you, it's okay. There are step-by-step instructions with